Kakamega to Kisumu swiftly because of infrastructure. So within this locality, we want also to feel the same. So that if I'm Kabarnet, I'm going to Kapsabet and joining that one for Kakamega is as swift as that. So seeing is believing. Why I say so is you have no problem now when you talk of affordable housing, because people see affordable housing. So they have no problem because they have seen. So seeing is believing. And because we are going to Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew say that we need to be pragmatic of what we are doing. He didn't use any principle, he was using his own principle so that other people will learn from his principle. And we want to say, in our budget or in our investments, we need to be pragmatic, things that will touch the people. We have meritocracy. You will have sorted out this mediocrity within the public service once and for all, and we will go to Singapore. Thank you, Asili. Welcome.
Thank you. I think the business community has done so well in representation of their issues. Let's clap for them. Thank you so much. Now I'll call the representatives of Bunge la Wananchi. I'll start with Grace Akinyi to please come and represent the stakeholders.
Mjamboni wote. Wamama oye. Wamama oye. Wamama Nambadi oye. Nyangreswa oye. Mimi sina mengi. Waziri na wakubwa wote ambaye mmetembea na waziri, tunashukuru waziri kwa kututembelea, na Mungu azidi kupa hiyo roho. Zaidi ya yote mimi nasimamia wamama, nimesimama kwa niaba ya wamama. Mheshimiwa, tunakuomba ukaweze kuinua wamama, aswa wamama wajane. Kuna wamama wajane katika kaunti hii ambaye wanafanya biashara ndogo ndogo. Ukaweze kutupa pesa kuinua wamama wajane. Na wamama hata wengine si wajane lakini wamama wa biashara ya chini. Mheshimiwa, ukaweze kutuinua, tukaweze kuendelea kiuchumi. Sababu hii Kenya ni ya kujisimamia, si ya kutegemea mtu. Na ni ufanye kazi yako ikuinue. Na nyinyi pia kama wakubwa mtu pale mbele muweze kutuinua. Juzi tuliona Mheshimiwa President wetu akiinua vijana pale Sports Club na Nyota Fund. Hata sisi wa mama tunahitaji pesa tukaweze kufanya biashara. Mheshimiwa, tunahitaji pesa tukaweze kuinua biashara. Na zaidi ya yote Mheshimiwa, umejua ukiinua mama umejenga jamii nzima, si ni kweli? Ukipromote mama umejenga jamii mzima. Kila nyumba watu watakula na watoto watafurahi, si ndio? Na watasema mama Mungu akubariki. Na saa hiyo itakuwa ni Mheshimiwa ametuinua, si ndio? Na zaidi ya yote mimi sina mengi Mheshimiwa, tuko nyuma yako. Kidogo naweza omba ni switch kidogo. Naomba tu kama naweza switch kidogo. Jatelo wakuai wane toki jatelo wane toki wakuai jatelo onge ngat machielo werigi mabagni ka mabagni madhi katwara ka werigo ine jatendwa mwasani wadongodo wakuai ni mondi konywa maklwetwa jatendwa maklwetwa wakuai ni Nyasaye ni kodi to wane toki. Nyasaye ni kodi, Nyasaye otelo ni to wane toki. Wuoth kodwa, parwa wasini gishuka, to wuothe counties te, kimanyo jou, strategy michako ni ondisore jatelo. Tibro dhi mabor, kamane kaka ngato chako to ngato dhi mabor, to Nyasaye bro telo ni, konywa. Jatelo maklwet vijana, maklwet ya wuotwa, mondo dhi mbele. Nyithindwa kik bed wakora. Jatelo wakuai, to wane toki, to Nyasaye kitelo nwa mbele. Nyasaye ni mbele to ini luo Nyasaye to wane toki. Ini masani jatendwa, ine kingpin marwa. Wane toki, konywa jatelo. Ineno kaka waloso t-shirts. T-shirts waloso ni nyangreswa through ineno jatelo wakwai mondo ikonywa. Kikonyori gi jatelo William Ruto Ochieng, mane jatelo ma wan godo, jakom nowewa sirikal. Yes. Bado mapambano, mapambano, mapambano. Bado mapambano, mapambano, mapambano. Joey, matendwa, matelonwa, twaluo. Jatelo telnwa, Nyasaye mondo gwedhi.
Asante sana. Tuko nyumbani, si ndio? Tuko nyumbani, si ndio? Okay, silence. In translation, Grace is saying that privatization is a very important tool in fiscal planning, and she supports that move fully, and she believes in leadership of Honorable John Mbadi Ngongo. Are we supporting Grace? Thank you so much. We will finish with Fabish.
Order.
Sawa. Asante sana. Thank you. Huyu Fabish, huyu ni kijana wa waziri. Sawa? Haya, wacha aongee, tumpe nafasi.
Bwana Waziri, FCPA John Mbadi, National Assembly Leaders, County Secretary, County Commissioner mpendwa, mama wetu ambaye anashikilia chama kubwa cha ODM, Mama Dota, mzee wetu Opar, bunge na wasalimu yote kwa jina la Yesu, hamjambo. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Bunge power. Vijana ra. Wamama. Kwa majina naitwa Fabish Ochieng Ouma, mwana soja wa Raila Amolo Odinga, non-gazetted chairman, broad-based government, North Rift region, president wa bunge la wananchi county ya Uasin Gishu. Nimeangalia hapa, nimeona pia wajumbe wa county ya Uasin Gishu hawako, kwa hivyo mniruhusu leo nisimame kwa niaba yao nikiongoja kuchaguliwa huko mbeleni kama mbunge, si ndio? Mumeniruhusu nisimame kwa niaba yao. Kiatu ambayo siwezi simama kwa niaba yake ni kiatu ya gavana wetu mpendwa, kwa sababu county secretary yako hapa. Allow me go straight to the point, because I'm the only one who can speak fluent English, fluent Kiswahili and fluent Bengali. Bwana Waziri, to start with, I want to engage on the issue of privatization of companies. Bwana Waziri, we have seen so many companies in this nation being privatized, and after that, they die all along. What assurity are you giving us today that once you privatize these companies, as I grow older in the next 50 years, I'll still find that company working because of government stimulation projects? Point number 2, Bwana Waziri, we have students here. And once you want to know an economy is crippling is once the basic commodities are being hiked. Bwana Waziri, in a nation where unga is hiked, school fees itaraiziwa. In an economy where a parent cannot afford 100 shillings to live daily, hospital bills tawalemea kulipa. What are you putting in place in the budget of 2025-2026 to ensure that hizi vitu zinateremka chini in terms of cost of living? On behalf of students, Bwana Waziri, there is a tendency in this nation, yenye imekuwa ikihappen, you raise school fees, but you don't raise the capitation. Kindly, what are you putting in place that in 2025, 2026, hello, instead of hiking the school fees, kindly hike the capitation, so that a student mwenye analipa school fees 90,000, capitation yake iko at 80,000, help pia imepandishwa to 50,000. Si namna hiyo? Ndio wale wazazi ambao wanabaki nyumbani, kazi yao ikwetu ni ya kutafuta chakula ya watoto wakiwa pale. On matters health, Bwana Waziri, in any economy that you cannot afford to buy mara moja as a painkiller, you won't afford to go to school, you won't afford to go to job. And that is the first downfall of an economy. Once mzazi haendi, mjumbe kama Lenmengita haendi bunge kwa sababu kichwa inauma na shaa pia kidogo inamsumbua. Bwana Waziri, my suggestion is this. These minor diseases, hizi ndogo ndogo, shaa inafai cover fully. Nikimalizia, because nimeguzwa kidogo, because of time, allow me, Bwana Waziri, I have my able chairman, Bwana Ashiundu. Where is he? From bunge la wananchi, just 1 minute, a present iko kitu naye yako hapa, amesema amefuatilia waziri tangu wakiwa mdogo, waziri amempita kwa umri. Kindly just use 1 minute to present what you want to present to waziri. Nikienda kukaa chini, Mwenyezi Mungu awabariki sana na azidi kutuinua.
Bunge power! Bunge power! Comrades power! Na wanabiashara wamama je? Honorable CS CPM Mr. Mbadi, Honorable Bandi, Bwana Sisi, kaka, na wote ambao wamekuja hapa. I'm also learned. I'm privileged to stand before you just to say 3 things. One, I want to appreciate our minister. This is the only man who is on the ground. This is the only man who is articulating the president's manifesto. Bunge's power. As the voice of the voiceless, we discuss issues. We are not partisan. But then we have realized government is doing a lot to impact mwananchi. But that information is nowhere to be accessed. People are not communicating what they are doing. And you remember, in the Gen Z uprising, the only problem we had was that the government was working, but the ministers were not telling the people what they are doing. Our prayer is, because we want a united Kenya. As Bunge la Mwananchi, we are guided by the Constitution. The Constitution tells us, Article 1, then we can only have one president at one time. So as Bunge la Mwananchi, we embrace the president, the sitting president. But then we want, as Bunge la Mwananchi, what you are saying, let now the manifesto come from Mwananchi. Because the problem we are having, people come with their own manifestos, and when they reach there, we have no role to question them. They did not originate the manifesto from Mwananchi. So going forward, anybody who wants an elected seat, he must pass through the common Mwananchi so that he develops the manifesto to help us now own up the process as representation. Finally, as Bunge la Mwananchi, as Fabia said, is the president Wasingishu. I am the chairman, the speaker of Tarbo sub-county, representing Bunge la Mwananchi at the county level. We have come up with a proposal. We need your funding. And this is a humble request to you. We have a formal written proposal. I will request that you allow me to present it to you, and we humbly request you to consider it. Then finally, my personal interest precedes other interests. Allow me, Honorable Mbadi. I have a daughter who is third year Catholic University Langata. I have a fee structure here. I don't want the money. I want you to pay the money to the account so that I can afford. Thank you so much.
Let's clap for him as he presents the memorandum. Tumpigie makofi. Thank you. Asante sana. Silence. Now we are going to the last stakeholders, the largest demographic in the country. That is the youth. Comrades, power. Comrades, Ria. Comrades, Ibim. Comrades, say yes. Comrades, the magic of human achievement gives an irrefutable proof that as soon as the nationalism of any country is awakened amongst the youth, it becomes the vanguard against impunity. Comrades, wisdom. Waziri John Mbadi is at the center of the formation of the next government of Kenya. And any person who has the best interest of the people must include Waziri John Mbadi in his government. And now that he holds the docket of National Treasury, we cannot go below Deputy President. And after that, tunaona mbele. Sindio? So I want to welcome representation of the youth, our sister here. Asante sana.
Comrades power! Comrades power! Bunge power! Viva comrade viva! Viva waziri viva! Kwa majina ni Mokeira Juliet. Kwa yule ambaye ananipenda sana ataniita female commander. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. I am here representing the great multitude today. That is the comrades and the youths. And as a student of the Eldoret National Polytechnic, the first and the only lady that has ever vied for the presidency seat since the existence of the Eldoret National Polytechnic. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Bwana Waziri, I have very few points to put across to you today. My first point goes through the capitation of the students at TVETA programs. Bwana Waziri, as the President Bunge has said, our school fees have hiked. As a student partaking a program under the modularized CDAC program, we pay a sum of 105,000 per year to finish a diploma degree, to finish a diploma certificate. And one thing that is affecting us is that our capitation is 30,000, but what is received at our institutions is 17,000 Kenyan shillings. And our help, Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Comrades power. Niongele help nisiongele. Help at our institutions are delayed. And if they are dispersed, we are given 26,000. Bwana Waziri, is it fair to us as comrades? Some of us come from vulnerable groups, vulnerable families, and 26,000 summed up with 17,000 with the school fees that I'm paying to finish my diploma, that is around 210,000. For a modularized program, it takes 5 semesters. And for each semester, I paid 35,000 for 3 months, Bwana Waziri. Bwana Waziri, my prayer today is that ukienda kukaa kubalance hizo vitabu zako huko kwa treasury. Ukibalance fees, balance pia hiyo capitation na help. Isonge juu, fee pungue. Ndo nikipea mzazi stress nyumbani ya kuishi na kukula, pia fees haimpei stress sana. And Bwana Waziri, we understand that through privatization of companies and everything, we are also able to get more funds. And
through kulipa hizi debts zinatu huko nje. Our request is that can that money also be channeled to important institutions like health, education, and other institutions, Bwana Waziri. And lastly, also through privatization, we know that you can link the youths, the comrades out there with job markets through their training skills. That is our prayer today, Bwana Waziri. Mukienda huko mutukumbuke sisi kama youths. Asanteni. Comrades power!
Thank you. I'll welcome finally the next comrade, Okumu Osea, to finish on behalf of the youth.
Comrade power! Comrade power! Wanabunge power! Wanabiashara power! Our CS Mbadi Tibim! Thank you so much. At this moment, I remain by the name of Okumu Osea. As comrades, our CS, we work with 3 rules as a comrades. And our first rule says a comrade is always right. And the second rule again remains the comrade is right. And our third rule refers to the first and the second rule. You see, must have been talked about help. Indeed, Bwana PS, as you are talking, our CS, as you are talking right now, we have a debt where 2024-25 help was not paid to our accounts. Even as we are talking, we have a huge balances. And we believe by today, we are going to answer our prayer. Kwamba this comrade will not keep on staying angry. And I believe even today from this meeting, these people are not going to stay angry. We believe in you. Comrades power. And our CS, allow me to say this. Because the youth has got a large number in our country. I don't know what is your plan in this 2025-2026 budget. What are you budgeting for these people? I believe you are going to give us, kwamba, even as we end this meeting, kwamba, our budget, even for these youth. You remember last year, youths going on roads because we were not engaged. But we believe because of this engagement, kwamba, you are going to answer our prayer. You are going to answer these comrades today. You are going to make this comrade to stay not angry anymore. Comrades power. Comrades viva. And then our CS. You see, when you look at the bursaries, decentralization of bursaries, it is our plea. Kwamba, why can't we combine all these bursaries to be channeled in one direction? Ndio tusikue atsuji ya county, tusi ya whatever. Let's be channel kama ni kuboosti help. Isaidie mahali pale. Comrades power. Even as I'm finishing, I believe today, comrades, you are not going to stay angry. Comrades power. Our CS here is going to give you even something little to eat. Comrades power. Thank you so much. May God bless you so much.
Asante. I want to recognize the presence of Juakali. Juakali. We have seen you, and in due course you will also speak, no problem. Waziri will listen to all of us. I want to finish with the youths entirely. So finally, let me welcome Kasam. Thank you. Let's give him time. Comrades, Waziri is writing. We are all writing. The things we are saying here today are not in vain. They are supposed to be discussed, deliberated, and they find their way into the next budget. So please, let's be calm and hear our brother speak. Tafadhali, yeah?
Comrades power. Comrades power. Wanabunge power. Comrades viva. Viva. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the renowned Jevin Oyo Kasam. I'm the preacher of the gospel of His Excellency the President, William Samoei Otieno Ruto. Ladies and gentlemen, I am only the surviving third-born son of my late father. Today I'm not here to bore you much with words. I'm also the chairperson for College and University Association of Kenya. As TVETs, on behalf of 100,000 plus comrades who are not here, with due respect to Waziri, before I divert from the agenda, let me stick to it. Number one, just to enlighten you, His Excellency, the former President of Kenya, Oburu Kenyatta, did not privatize any sector or did any sales of shares. That's why Kenya borrowed almost 3-point-something trillion. And we are paying that debt to date. A wise man will tell you that the sources for the government to get its funds is by one, selling what it has so that it can get something little. This is not the first time Kenyan government is selling something or leasing something. In 1993, to that reign to around 2002, the reigning president sold shares from 100% to zero of a private company that I'm not going to talk about right now. Those sales were made. You understand? Those sales were made and education was not free. Those sales were made and we had poorest infrastructure during those regimes. President Moi Kibaki in 2008 sold shares of Safaricom from 60 and reduced it to 35%, right? I did my research right. And that 35% is what is left. His Excellency the President and Kenyans at large, if we support the sales of the 15% of Safaricom shares, we will still retain 20%. Clap for me. You must clap for me because I did my research right. If we sell 15% of the shares, each at 34 shillings, Kenya is going to gain whopping 204 billion Kenyan shillings. Privatization of Kenya Pipeline will generate almost 100 billion Kenyan shillings. Waziri, that brings me to my question. 204 billion plus 100 billion, that is 300 billion Kenyan shillings. On behalf of TVET students and colleges, what is our take from the 300 billion? I'm taken aback by where a student who is only taking a level 6 course is paying up to 105,000. And when I did my research, a wise man is talking and Waziri is right here. We will talk about you when I'm done with the main agenda. Comrades, viva! Comrades, viva! Don't interfere with an orphan when he's speaking. I might get emotional. So, when these sales are made, Waziri, I was asking, look at an institution like the Eldoret National Polytechnic. That institution has a population of 19,800 plus students. And the hostels there only can contain 300 students. You can imagine. Only 300 students residing within the institution. And the remaining 18,000 plus are residing in Kisumu. That is why there is high rate of insecurity in Kisumu, Langas, Kapsaret constituency. Not because of any other reason. The population is overwhelming. Ladies and gentlemen are jobless. And in all, Wasakatonge have to earn an honest living. Wasakatonge power. Wasakatonge power. Wasakatonge have to earn an honest living. That's why there is insecurities in that place. Plea number one for the Eldoret National Polytechnic. There is a huge land there. Do as affordable housing. Rent it to the entity so that the money generated from the school can be used to pay for those houses. Waziri, as I wind up, and I want to say this in Kijaluo for a second. Pek mar nyang ema miyo nyang. Pek mar nyang ema miyo nyang. just to translate from French, it is the weight that is on the private part of a crocodile that makes a crocodile sinks. That is a local proverb that we always give Waziri while we're in the village. Ladies and gentlemen, Waziri, a time has come when, after talking about Kenya and privatization and all that, being a property of the government of William Samoei Ruto, is now that time that I have to table my interest before I go and get a seat. Waziri, since the Student Budget Committee began, I was in Migori, I was in Kakamega, and today I'm here. Nobody pays me to run all these errands. When Nyota Fund was running, and I have those details in my head, I was in Eldoret, I went to Nakuru, and I even went to Nyeri. You think I'm given any allocation? Oh no. I ran because my mother is your neighbor back in Laknyero. So I want to support you emotionally, so that if you win in 2032, you remember son of Atieno and give me a little cut in that government. I can represent the young people. Even that time, I'll still be a youth. Comrades, wisdom. Now, to end it, Waziri, I'm here with the women representative for Sakatonge, the Kenyan region. Sir Aaron, just wave. Arona is a wise man. Thank you, sir. Arona is a wise man. Sir, Arona and I, we have taken the mantle of coordinating students across these entities. We were with Arona in Migori, we went to Kakamega, and finally we are here. I want to tell people that anybody who supports the government, you do not have to be paid so that you support the government. And also instant results does not come. I also want to urge you, Waziri, on behalf of other devoted young people wenye wana support serikali, msifanye tuteseke hadi watu watutusi. We uko na waziri leo, kesho uko na una kitu. Yet people insulting the government are being called to the bargaining table. I don't want to insult the government, whether they employ me or they don't employ me. I know in 2032, when you become the president of the Republic of Kenya, the son of Atieno will have something. Comrades, viva! Comrades, viva! Chairman, these are Wasakatonge who brought themselves. Waziri, just your attention in a minute. I'm the person who coordinated the students to get to this place. But I only had slots of 60 students who are being brought to this place, which we did very genuinely. But as the chairman, I have to walk around with a team of people who are also have interest in building the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Wasakatonge are here. Wamama wa yellow, tumsifu Yesu Kristo. Ao ni watu pia wenye wako kwa list. Na Wasakatonge wengi wao pia wako kwa list. I know you as a wise man who has been MP for the longest time until you got tired. This small number will not refuse you to control so that they will not abuse me on the social media. So, Waziri, that is not asking for support. That is just being realistic on the actual facts that are on the ground. Sindio? When Waziri for Finance is around, we are talking matters of building the nation. Sindio? My take, Waziri, if you want to sell 20% and retain 15%, as long as Kenya is not going to borrow and education prices is going to reduce, kindly sell. We don't have to go and borrow 300 billion from somewhere, while you can sell something that we truly own. Even when a cow becomes of age and it is not producing enough milk, you sell it and use it to pay fee. Waziri, if the 15% will save the educational sector, mwaso the TVETs, kindly sell 20 and retain 15. Asanteni sana, and we will go to heaven. Wacha nisalimie Waziri, angalau mamangu atumiwe hii picha. kuna venye mambo itaenda 2030. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hao ni vijana waziri. I'll call the national coordinator under vijana waziri to Capitol, okay, Solomon, so that you understand that waziri has the interest of the youth at heart. Explain the position of waziri matters the youth, and affirm the youth in this hall that waziri is always thinking about them. Solomon, quickly. For about 2 minutes, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Wamama oe. Wamama oe. Bunge power. Bunge power. Comrades ria. Comrades achu. Comrades aze. Thank you very much. Sisi kama vijana wa waziri, I don't have much to say today. I'm very happy we are here in Rift Valley region na mmetukaribisha vizuri. We are very happy, and what we are doing as NSBF committee, as youths now, juu sasa saa hii sisi ndio tuko na waziri pale juu, siwezi ongea mingi. Mimi kazi yangu saa hii ni kuandika, ndio maana niko na kitabu na kalamu. Ndio nikikaa na yeye pale kwa ofisi, namwambia hii ndio ilisemwa Rift Valley, hii ndio ilisemwa pale Nyanza, hii ndio ilisemwa Western, na hii ndio ilisemwa Garissa, ndio tuzicompile pamoja, and then youths wakuwe kwa the budget of 2026-2027 wapate shares yao hapo ndani. Si ndio? Ama mtaki tuandike? So I'm very happy. Waziri, what you can do, me I don't have much to say. I'm doing much of the writing. I will come to the office with the booklet and my team. So I don't have politics to say. Wakati wa siasa tutakuja, 2032 is heavy, lakini before 2032 lazima Ruto aende 2 term na watu wengine waende 2 term, waziri naye ni all terms. Comrades power. So I have a team with me as the chairman. Haitakuwa vizuri kama mwenye nyumba kuto introduce kila mtu. Wacha tu wasimame. I have my team. NSBF committee. Asante. So with me, I have a very hard-working lady who is my vice. She's called Quinta. Quinta wevia watu. Akimpigie huo mrembo makofi. That is Quinta. She's my vice. And then we have George Solomon here. He is my lead secretariat. Yeye ndio atacompile all these things that we are writing. And then we have the national coordinator ako pale. National coordinator anaitwa Joel Alo. Yes, sasa unaona na control ground. And then I have my secretary general with me here, the spokesman of the NSBF committee, Sam Ougo. Simpigie makofi hii committee. Ya mwisho, simpigie makofi treasury team yote. Sitaki wasimame. Asanteni sana, Mungu awabariki. Tutarudi hapa na waziri na tuongee na youth tena hadi tukue kwa budget 2026-2027. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. Rais William Ruto alipokuwa akitengeneza serikali ilitengenezwa akina mama mboga. Mama mboga hoe. Jua kali hoe. Sasa itakuwa jambo la kusikitisha kama kila mtu ataongea na wale ambao walitengeneza serikali wasiongee. Kwa niaba ya wanajua kali, waziri ametukubali tusemezane. So nitawaita nyi wawili mkuje so that you can represent these beautiful people here. Thank you. You're welcome.
Hello. Bunge power. Bunge power. Comrades power. Comrades power! Wamama power! Wamama power! Jua kali hai! Jua kali hai! Toeni sauti kama unyalukunywa uji asubuhi. Jua kali hai! Hapo sasa, kwa majina naitwa Smith Hemston. Wengine wananiita Namjoi. I'm happy to see you, Mheshimiwa Nyang. I love your style of leadership. Allow me to appreciate it and say that majority of the leaders that we have in place today, they do not take this initiative to sit down with wananchi, listen to them, and get their opinions so that they can also help run the government. The government is for the people, and it is the people who help in running this government for its success. For everything that the government does, it must always benefit the people. So the policies that we put in place must reflect the opinions of the people. Nyang, the late Madiba once said that reconciliation is forgiving one another and accepting to work together as one. We have reconciled and we have decided and accepted to work together as one. We may have had previously divergent opinions on what could have been done, but here today we are. Allow me to remind you, Ngongo, that even as now we, through you, is serving in the government, people on the ground here still have certain things that they feel that have not yet been done by the government, and their opinions are being ignored. Allow me to start with the issue of education that touches each one of us. We are asking one question: how much should the government consider that we have a free education from primary to university? How much budget will it cost us for us to implement this? Because previously when Raila Odinga was campaigning, he promised us that we will have free university education. But today, whatever we are seeing today, majority of the comrades are dropping out of school because they cannot be able to sit for their exams. The institutions are denying them opportunities. And if we deny them to complete, tunazima taa yao. Education ni taa. Na hawa watu wa jua kali wako na watoto wanasomesha. Wakati sasa umeanza kuweka education imekuwa too expensive, yet their income is not a guarantee. What do you guarantee them if not hope? When you make expensive and affordable to the Juakali people, you are killing their hope. Number two, I want to talk on the issue of industrialization. Majority of the Juakali people rely on industries for them to be able to earn something. The government cannot employ us, but we rely on the private sectors that if environment is made better for all of us, then the Juakali people can get something to constantly earn a living. There is a conversation we are having right now about the mining extraction of the oil from Turkana. Why are we debating about going to refine this oil outside the country, yet the companies that we have in Kenya are closing up? We want to build an environment where companies can come and invest in Kenya so that these people who can work, do something with their hands, can get the opportunity. We have got people working as mechanics. If you can be able to approach Nissan, Ford, so that these people can come and manufacture their cars here, we can be able to give the Juakali people who are working in the car sectors so that they can also be part of that team. We manufacture our cars here in this country. So allow me to finalize by saying, Nyang, that I want to quote the German language. when they said that nyanga mokwayo okogo ng'ato mayo. For those who have not understood, that is a German conversation. Nyang, we have seen a young man here called Oyo. He is a comrade, give him a job. We do not want a handout for him. You have seen this gentleman here. Akona certificate. Mpe kazi. We do not want a handout for him. So that when he comes back and tells us that indeed ile broad-based salary ukisupport 1 term ama 2 term, kuna kitu. Pia mimi nataka nimalize nikisema, majority of our members in the Juakali sector were not captured in the list. Nyang, we have written the list here, and we want to plead with you that if there is anything that heaven is remembering the rest of these people, let them also be remembered. Finally, Nyang, I will have done a mistake by saying, by ignoring that if you give somebody, if you teach somebody how to fish, majority of us, the benefit of education is to get a job so that you can also sustain yourself and the family. I'm presenting this CV, yenye maonyesha practicing, iko na experience, so that hata mimi huku nikikuja kuongea kesho mbele ya Juakali wenzangu, naambia Nyangali ni reso. Nyangoresa kuzokoresa. Oresa kuzokigoresa. Oresa kuzokigoresa. Agoro kamano nyangage munigini. Inegeno na.
Thank you.
Honorable CS, FCPA John Badi, we do appreciate you for coming in Uasin Gishu bearing the flag of the Republic. Mine is going to be very few. My name is Richard Oparo Nduto, Secretary General Uasin Gishu County Juakali Associations and Regional Coordinator Kenya National Federation of Juakali Associations. I'm representing 8 counties and also in the Secretariat of the Kenya National Federation of Juakali Associations, and also in the Secretariat of the Confederation of the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Organizations, East Africa, as a technical advisor. In Kenya, when I'm here today, CS, I'm representing 17 million Juakali sectors. So when I'm going to talk, comrade power, women power, Juakali power. So when I'm going to talk on behalf of 17 million people. And I would request you to give me a voice because we are having several challenges in the Juakali sector. One thing, we are supporting the privatization bill. We are supporting the privatization bill, but we should take essential One thing that we are having as the Juakali people, we lack designated industrial park for
Comrade power. Eldoret hoye. Eldoret hoye. With all due respect, silence, 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 please. Thank you. Okay, he's finishing. He's finishing.
Okay. So the Juakali people are lacking designated industrial work sites that can accommodate even the TVET students. When the TVET students and even the university students are taking their courses, they lack where to go for attachment. And this is a problem in the Republic of Kenya. CS, we request you that you set us a budget to have designated industrial work sites in the Republic of Kenya where manufacturing can take place. Because when we talk about Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, where are we going to manufacture these products when we don't have designated industrial work site? Number two, Kenya has never had a Kenya International Trade Conference and Exhibition. When we are talking about Buy Kenya, Build Kenya, we need to have this one in the calendar of events in the Republic of Kenya. And this year, we were requesting to have a private sector's exhibition in the month of 1st of April to 7th in Uasin Gishu County, bringing in East Africa community, all of them. Finally, Waziri, there is a need that there is a private sector company that can institute the manufacturing of electricity, production of electricity using the tides of the Indian Ocean, Waziri. This company needs also to be incorporated because this is part of the private sector and it is going to create employment opportunities to many Kenyans and also do the production of clean water from Indian Ocean. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you. Let's take this opportunity to clap for all the stakeholders who've spoken. Thank you so much. I think when Waziri will come, he will respond to all your issues. At this point, allow me now introduce the County Secretary, Honorable Machelong, who will introduce the county members of Parliament, or rather the MCS. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable CS Mbadi, our Member of Parliament, our County Commissioner, our members of County Assembly, the entire delegation who are with our CS, the honorable citizens of Uasin Gishu, young people, Juakali, members of the business community. I want to greet each one of you in a very special way. Good morning. Hamjambo. Unajua sasa mimi nikisema power sijielewi sana lakini nitawasalimu tena. Hamjambo. Asanteni sana. First of all, we want to appreciate your presence, Bwana CS, for coming today in this public consultation meeting with the citizens and residents of Uasin Gishu, especially the young people who are dominant in this meeting. We want to really appreciate you for finding time for that. We want also to appreciate you for giving the opportunity to the honorable members who have just spoken here. And they have really aired out very important issues that we shall continue to consider and budget. I'm sure this morning when you arrived, our governor welcomed you, and we are still welcoming you to take this place and find it a home most of the time because you've seen the kind of eloquence and excitement you create when you are here. There's a lot of excitement, so it looks like this should be your second home if you do not have a second home. So karibu sana Bwana CS, hapa kuna furaha nyingi, and looks like everybody seems to admire you. For information, the team that are excited with you here most, I believe they must have come from somewhere in Siaya, Nyanza, Suba. So wamepata ndugu yao hapa. Wamepata ndugu yao hapa. So naona makofi mpaka lugha inaongelewa ya German. Mara inaongewa England sababu kuna brothers wao hapa. But we must appreciate Uasin Gishu is for everybody. And Uasin Gishu is such a peaceful place, such a place that all these Juakali fellows, small traders, small businesses, the bunge la wananchi, thrive in sharing wonderful ideas and wonderful information, which I'm sure today has been forwarded to you. And we want to really appreciate them for their contribution and the much they've spoken. I just want to say the Juakali guys are well supported. We know we're having challenges in terms of space and where they can work from. But we've worked with them. Among some of these Juakali guys, we've traveled with them since devolution, and some of them have gone to Rwanda, Burundi, to do business in East African community. So we've really worked as a county government to support our SMEs, and we continue to put up the same strategy. We want to appreciate the national government. We're almost done with our big markets. One of the biggest CBD markets for small traders is near completion now. And this is through the support of the national government, which we must really appreciate. We envisage that by May this year, we shall be hosting a majority of about 6,000 traders just here. We want also to appreciate the land we passed over the national government. The export processing zone is near completion. The spaces there have been planned, and we've had several engagement on how to utilize those spaces for the business community and the manufacturing community. And the process is ongoing, so that as soon as it is handed over, we can have people taking over those spaces and do business. The the industrial aggregation centers, which was an initiative of this government, we are having it in Moiben, and it's ongoing. We envisage by August we shall have more agricultural aggregated products happening there, in addition to what the county is doing in terms of processing activities for potatoes, for animal feeds, for the coffee, which is in Tarubo. They are all ongoing. We envisage that in the middle of this year, most of these processing activities or spaces will be available ready. The markets in Kapseret is almost ready. The market in Madaru, Keses, all supported by national government. So we are envisaging a scenario that we shall have to accommodate a majority of our business people and strengthen the business activities, especially with the current financial inclusion for the youth through the Nyota and the other programs that are ongoing, including the Fanikisha by the county government. We want to appreciate Treasury because we've seen the internal governance mechanisms being fixed in this country that have always gone haywire. That is why the cost of living has always gone so high. But this governance that you came and injected has really transformed our country. We may not tangibly see them, but practically changes are happening in this country. I know the naysayers will continue to shout, but this country is in the right trajectory, and we want to appreciate the energy you have put in Treasury to make the changes. We are sure the current activities happening, be it privatization to liquidate some of the institutions that are strategically not earning us income but can be used to earn us income, is very brilliant. When we talk of infrastructure funds, these are brilliant ideas. Countries have developed because they took deliberate decisions. And I want to appreciate you, CS, because you people decided to be bold with the president and took deliberate decision to change this country. Otherwise, if we had not taken that and survived on the political noise, we would be going south every other time. So we want to thank you very much. Mine was just to appreciate your engagement here with the citizens of Uasin Gishu and tell you the commitment as a county government of Uasin Gishu. We are focused in transforming this nation, and in a very big way, Uasin Gishu is focusing in that transformation. I know the infrastructure designs that are happening, the ones the national government are supporting us. Recently, we had members of parliament here and the senators discussing how we can restructure the infrastructure to be able to hold the fuel across when heavy trucks cross this county. And you can see the vision of this country. We are headed in the right direction. We believe the support you are giving to the president will transform this nation, and we shall achieve in the shortest time possible in our generation and time. I want to introduce our members of County Assembly who are here, Cherono and our representative of the persons with disability. Maybe you can stand, give them a microphone to say jambo, because, or you can come ahead. I also have members of our staff. Our Nixon is our chief officer in charge of economic planning. Actually, he should be taking notes in this forum because he's part of the guys who do the budgeting. So, waheshimiwa, just mpatie tu waongee, alafu Mheshimiwa Cherono pia utasalimiana. Asanteni, karibuni.
Mheshimiwa wetu wa fedha na waheshimiwa wengineo, waheshimiwa wenzangu kama Mheshimiwa Nono na wananchi wetu wa bunge la Mwana bunge, mniruhusu niwasalimu nikisema mchambo. Mimi kwa majina naitwa Mheshimiwa Robert Kering. Mimi ni yule ndio nawakilisha watu ambao wanaishi na mahitaji maalum katika jimbo hili letu mheshimiwa la County Assembly ya Uasin Gishu. Mimi sina mengi mheshimiwa, la sangu mimi ni machache, ni mambo mawili. Kwanza nataka kukushukuru na kusema pongezi kwa kuwa wewe ndio unamsaidia mheshimiwa rais wetu kwa mambo na fedha. Mimi ninakupongeza, kazi yako ni sawa na usiti kufanya na mheshimiwa kwa ya mambo hayo ya fedha. Pili mheshimiwa, kwa niaba ya watu ambao wanaishi na mahitaji maalum, nataka nikusie mambo mawili nikitanguliza na yale yaliyofanyika kule kwa yule mwanafunzi aliyejaribu kwenda shule la Lenana, na kwa roho yake na ndoto yake alikuwa asomee mali pale mheshimiwa. Lakini la kushangaza ni kwamba huyo mwanafunzi alirudishwa. Nikirudi nyuma pale 2010 katiba yetu ya Kenya ilituruhusu sisi ambao tunaishi na ulemavu tutoke Kenya nzima na tukushiriki tunda la taifa hili na wenzetu ambao ni regular people kwa pamoja. Na juzi 2025 rais akatia sahihi kitole ile akti ya 2025 kuwa tukue kwa pamoja. Lakini la kushangaza ni kwamba yule mwanafunzi alirudishwa pale mheshimiwa. Gani imagine ati sababu wako na ulemavu. Kwangu mimi nikiwa mmoja ya wale walemavu, nasema hilo jambo si nzuri. Muyaangalie sana, tukue tunajumuika na wale wenzetu, tukiwa ndoto zetu tuipeleke mbele kwa kila shule, ili tujulikane pia na sisi kwa mambo ya elimu. Mheshimiwa, hebu tafakari na uangalie ya kwamba haikuwa sawa na sheria inaturuhusu. Tutaichukulia kwa usito, hata sijui huyo mwanafunzi wako wapi. Sawa. Pili, mambo ya capitation. Unapo shughulikia hizi fedha nikiwa mmoja, angalia wenzetu. Sisi wale wanafunzi ambao wanaishi na ulemavu, ama kwa kila jambo ambao inahusika na ulemavu, utuongezee. Hilo ndio lombi langu, ya kwamba uongeze sehemu hiyo ili hata na sisi tufurahie na tuachieve kwa ile dreams zetu. Mimi saa hii sioni, na mzungu alisema ya kwamba disability is not inability. Hii pesa tukipata hata tunaweza kuwa tunaendeleza biashara tena zaidi kama wale wengine. So mheshimiwa na Wakenya wenzangu, nataka niseme pongezi, nimefurahia kikao hili, na niseme ya kwamba broad based mbele tufanye kazi pamoja. Asante. Asanteni sana, mbarikiwe.
Asante sana. Jina tu.
Bwana Waziri, mbunge wetu, County Commissioner, viongozi wote, Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Comrade Power. Kwa majina naitwa Paul Kiprotich Rob. Mimi nimefanya kazi na UDA, mwarakisha hiyo maongezi ili hiyo shilingi 6,000 yenye baba alisema tutapata, wengine wetu wapate. So ya mwisho, Bwana CS wetu wa county, kuna mahali ulikosea kidogo na nafikiri utaomba msamaha. Hawa sio wakaaji wa Siaya, hawa ni wakaaji wa Uasin Gishu, wamezaliwa hapa. Tumelelewa pamoja na wao, tuko shule wote. So kwa hiyo uliteleza kidogo, utaomba msamaha. Asanteni sana Comrade Power. 2027 kwa majalia Mwenyezi Mungu, muniombe, munishike comrade mwenzenyu mbunge Kapseret constituency. Asante.
Hamjambo. Hamjambo tena. Hamjambo wenye Uasin Gishu. Our CS, FCPA Mbadi, CPA Ruto ambaye ni mbunge wetu, msijali Kalenzi niko hapo ndani. CPA Ruto, County Commissioner wetu, our very hardworking leader of security and other matters here in Uasin Gishu. Every other leader that have not been able to recognize, all the stakeholders, good afternoon. Leo kwa sababu tuko na mgeni mkubwa sana, CS mzima wa fedha. Sisi watu hapa ground tunyamaze tumsikize wote. Sinimpe nafasi. Kwa hivyo singependa kuongea zaidi ya hapo. Mimi naitwa Mheshimiwa Cherono Caroline Ono na ningependa tu kumpongeza. Sijui kama mnajua alikuwa hapa 2 weeks ago. Mnajua na akatujengea kanisa moja pale Kapkoi, akahakikisha kwamba amepatana pia na wafanyabiashara, akahakikisha kwamba amewapea masikio. Kwa hivyo leo vile amerudi, for the very first time we have a CS of finance ambaye anasikiza. Letu tu ni kumpea support. Nataka niwahakikishia kwamba tangu ashike nafasi hiyo katika ofisi ya finance, nyinyi mumeona governors wakishika matawi wakisema pesa imechelewa, sio maneno ilisimama. Tunakushukuru, we can see your work. Tungependa pia kushukuru kwa sababu ya mambo ya autonomy ya county assembly. Hivi sasa na kwa muda mrefu tumekuwa tukitegemea, as the two arms of government tunategemeana, lakini ile financial independence ambayo mmetupea, tutahakikisha kwamba tumejikakamua pia kama legislature increase ile jambo linaitwa absorption rate. Hadi hapo karibu sana, asante.
Mheshimiwa CS, Mheshimiwa MP wa Keses, kwa majina naitwa Nixon Cheplong, mimi ni Chief Officer wa Economic Planning, and we want to appreciate you for the restructuring the Department of Economic Planning. It is currently working towards the right trajectory and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As we continue with our meeting, I know our CS will be finalizing this discussion in the next 1 hour or so, less than that. Sorry, we want to recognize our PSS. You know, PS Economic Planning and your colleague. Looks like it skipped my mind. So karibuni was in Gishu. Next time I'll not forget that. Apologies. I want to invite, I know there is a representative of our senator, Mr. Simon Kemei. Just stand up and wave. Kemei is our manager at the senator's office. So karibu. Ningependa kumkaribisha my MP, Honorable CPA Ruto, so that he can give his comments or his remarks. Alafu atakaribisha PS. Alafu PS sasa utakaribisha bwana CS. Karibu mheshimiwa.
Thank you so much, our County Secretary for Uasin Gishu, Waziri, because he was serving one time as Waziri Hapa, Philip Matelong. Our Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury, FCPA, John Buddy. Our two PSS, Makoa and Odede for investment and asset management for the country, and Makoa for the national planning. Na wananchi watukufu ambao wamejitokeza kwa wingi kufika hapa kwa siku maalum ambaye tumeitwa na waziri wetu wa fedha kuja kujadiliana pamoja masuala ya mipango za kiuchumi, mipango za bajeti yetu ya taifa la Kenya, na kila mmoja ambaye amefika hapa. Bwana asifiwe. Leo ni Jumapili. Bwana asifiwe. I'm sure you must have started this meeting with a word of prayer. Comrades power. Umetulia. Na si soka hapa. Comrade power. O wenye wako huko? O iko njaa? Iko njaa? Ngoja nione saa kwanza. Imefika saa yake? Oh, ndio hiyo. Well, I should be very brief. Today is not my meeting. And first of all, CS Karibu Uasin Gishu. On behalf of the leadership of this county, together from governor, the elected members of parliament, senator, and all those who never met to be here, we want to say karibu sana. We want to thank you, Bwana CS. Since day one, you are brought in as a cabinet secretary for National Treasury. And we were informed, some of us whom we were in UDA, the bottom-up agenda. And you on the other side, I don't know, the agenda was, we had two different agendas. Ilikuwa shida kwetu kukubali. It took us time to be convinced by the president that it is possible for us to work with the people we were competing against. I remember in the National Assembly, the CS Mbadi was sitting on the other side. Except that he's an accountant like me. And I would listen to him when he takes microphone to talk and agitate or castigate or bring out issue on opposing what the government is saying. We were not ready to work. We were not ready to accept. But who is God? Today, the National Treasury of the Republic of Kenya is sitting at the County Hall of Eldoret. We've had several ministers of the National Treasury there before. The very strong and powerful ones. But at no time did they Lord themselves to come to where our 90 are so that we discuss the national issues together and agree on how to take our nation. Bwana Waziri, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Immediately you ascended to that office, I saw you walking from the National Treasury all the way mpaka Jivanji Garden kwa bunge la wananchi, so that you can have a talk and discussion with wananchi on how wananchi are viewing and perceiving the affairs of their nation. It should be taken vis-a-vis where the bosses are sitting at the head office, at the boardrooms, and discuss how our nation should be done. Today, on Sunday, you are here in Eldoret. I'm informed that this is not the first county you have visited. You have come through several counties, even from Migori. You are here today, and this week you are still moving across the nation. You as a cabinet secretary. You know, watu wajuangi, waziri yule mwenye ako na security yote, anabebanga ile mkoba, yenye iko na budget yote ya Kenya. A very coveted office. And you are here listening to our wananchi leo wamekuambia maneno yao. And be able to respond to them and speak out to them. Last year, the other year, 2024, I'm in Parliament. All of us know what happened. We almost lost our country on finance bill of 2024. But Waziri, if you would listen, the contentious issues which were being profound at that time, and most of them were information that had already been distorted and is misinformed. But because the CS was sitting in the office and he could not speak about his own finance bill, Macu people would be blaming Parliament. The owner and the originator of the budget and finance bill is this man who is sitting here today. All the proposals is the one who is bringing out. It makes difference for him to come and speak about here in Eldoret, speak about in Nairobi, before when they come to Parliament, so that 190 can enrich it, 190 can support it. Because all of us, we have got one agenda. We want to develop our nation. Right now, Waziri, I've had a student talking about the cost of education. And it's a privilege, I'm sure you'll get a moment, to speak to us about the real cost, the nominal cost of education from ECD, primary, secondary, up to university. Because it is our desire as a nation that education being a basic social security need, it should be as cheap, it should be taken by the government so that we have a literate society. Society with knowledge, society that has acquired literacy, is society that can be progressive. We really want to know where we are going. Lastly, because it's not my time, I've just come to welcome you. I know Kenyans are following. On Tuesday, you appeared in our committee. I sit in the Committee of Finance and National Planning, where we are oversighting the Department of National Treasury. And you came to lay the grounds of why you, as the owner of all and every investment in the Republic of Kenya, up to including the investment in Safaricom, why you think it is that time we need to exercise the assets we have and generate revenue to finance our budget, the deficit in the budget vis-a-vis borrowing that is becoming untenable as we talk right now. I'm sure you must have laid our budget structure. Looking at our budget for financial year 2025-2026, for people who have been keen and following, if you remove the money that are going to counties, around 500 billion, you remove the money that are going to recurrent, almost 1.something billion, that is PE, personnel emolument, and those that are supposed to support the operation of the government, there is an element which is of a priority in nature. It is called consolidated fund services.
which has grown to almost 1.4 trillion. The component of that CFS is nothing but repayment of loan interest, not even the principal. And if we continue like this, rest be assured, is either we are going to agree as a Kenya one day and say we stop running the government of the day and pay off the debts and close the nation for 1 year or 2 years without any development. But I don't know where we are going to survive. How will our health services survive? How will our education survive? So we must come to a point of discussing and agreeing together as a nation, not as a person, as a nation, disregarding our boundaries in political persuasions, disregarding our boundaries in religious persuasion, disregarding our boundaries in ethnical persuasion, and agree that as a country, Kenya, with the entire 43 tribes, we must come to a point of honesty and transparency and agree to make a decision, a very tough one, so that we can offload and relieve ourselves from the shackles of the dead. And that is why we are ready to support you. We are ready as a National Assembly to support you. Exercise. The only thing that these Kenyans will be asking Waziri, when you receive this money, with clarity, or where are we going to put this money so that we can see growth of our economy and be able to reinvest back in the future opportunities and we sustain our nation. Otherwise, leo sitasema mengi ya nyumbani kama kwa niaba ya viongozi na kukaribisha nyumbani. The other day you were here and I'm sure you were able to meet someone na ukasema utarudi. Si waziri ni mtu mzuri amerudi tena leo ama namna gani? Hii maneno ya expert iko sawa sawa, mnaonaje? Iko chonje hii expert. Kwa huyu FCVM body. Wangapi wanakubali serikali iko sawa with the experts coming in? Tuko pamoja. Muinue tena mkono waziri aone. Wangapi we are comfortable with the experts being in the cabinet? Thank you so much. Si namna hiyo? Sio ndio Kenya tunataka? So waziri mkiendelea namna hii, hata hii broad base naona hii watu wamekubali. Tunangojea hiyo maneno mliongea Mombasa, tumalize by May. Hii serikali inakuja tuendeleshe mbele, na tukimaliza yule rais atafuata ni John Mbadi, si mtu mwingine. Mwenye anaendesha Kenya Treasury William akimaliza, John Mbadi tuendelee mbele. With that much I've said, allow me now to invite my two PSS. Odeda, I see you already come over, and then my PS for Makoa for economic planning. Ile maneno ya CDF mnasemanga si tunakula. Mwenye CDF ni huyu, atawaambia leo. Hii CDF mnasemanga tunakulanga sisi. Huyu ndiye anawekanga, huyu ndiye anafanya board ya NGCDF ni yake, yeye ndiye anaelea committees. Mkiona CDF inafanya mzuri cases ni juu ya huyu. Asante sana, karibu sana. Thank you.
God is good. God is good. And all the time, tusalemeni kwa hewa, please. I didn't know that this hall is that big. When you sit in front, you think we are having only a few people in this hall. Our Cabinet Secretary, the National Treasury, the area MP, the Ngao team represented here, my fellow Principal Secretary, Dr. Boniface Makoa, members of Parliament, those who are here, I think some of them have left, members of County Assembly together with the Executive, the business community, student leaders from various institutions of higher learning, distinguished members of Bunge la Wananchi, all invited guests, Wananchi wenzangu, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am delighted to welcome you on behalf of National Treasury to this stakeholders forum here in Uasin Gishu County. The Cabinet Secretary is on tour of the counties with a view to creating a public awareness and seeking public views on the budget-making process and privatization of government-owned enterprises. We started this journey in Migori County, then Kakamega, and now today we are here at the home of champions. Subsequently, this bandwagon will head to Nakuru, Kiambu, Meru, Garissa, and Kilifi counties. This engagement brings together participants representing various interest groups, including the elected leaders, the business community, student leadership, Bunge la Wananchi, among others. This is in tandem with the Constitution requirement for public participation in formulation of government policies, programs, and legislation. Firstly, this forum has given you, the people of this county, a platform to engage the Cabinet Secretary on the benefit of privatization. And I want to tell you that privatization has and will improve efficiency in the management of government-owned enterprises. It will reduce the fiscal burden on the public budget and stimulate economic growth. It is evident that over the years, many government-owned enterprises barely survived on substantial government subsidies due to operational inefficiencies, and the Cabinet Secretary will elaborate on that. The perpetual injection of capital to such entities limits the state's ability to fund critical social services and infrastructure. Through privatization, we are able to attract private capital, cutting-edge technology, and managerial expertise, which enhance productivity, service delivery, and competitiveness. Additionally, privatization of government-owned enterprises supports the development of capital markets, encourage foreign and domestic investments, and align with the broader economic reforms that strengthen our market-driven economy. For your information, the ongoing offloading of government shares from Safaricom and Kenya Pipeline Corporation will help in revenue generation without increasing debts and taxation. Secondly, we are here today to gather your invaluable views on the budget-making process for the financial year 2026-2027, which is already ongoing. Public input is actively sought through consultation forums and submissions to ensure that the budget aligns with the priorities of citizens, and I believe that we will be getting those submissions so that we can look into them. Let me assure you that your views will not only be heard, but they will count, as Waziri will tell you more shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me go to this issue that was raised on AGPO. We have embarked on the rollout of electronic government procurement system, popularly known as EGP, at both national and county level. The implementation and the use of EGP will result in reduced cost of goods, works and services. It will increase transparency in procurement process and practice. It will improve efficiency in procurement. It will maximize the value for money, accountability, improve confidentiality, integrity, authenticity of transactions, and streamline procurement processes. And this will enhance procurement information management that will facilitate procurement planning, monitoring, evaluation, and reporting. In this regard, because I think it was raised by National Chamber of Commerce Director, and I want to take only 1 minute in explaining that. The government has reserved 30% of procurement of goods and services to people living with disabilities, youth, and women. And for you to access this, you have to register. Access to the government procurement opportunities, that is AGPO. This one is enshrined in the Constitution, and I want to urge the youth and affected population to register under AGPO to benefit from that 30%. I can assure you that almost, I think, only maybe 10% or 5% of all those who are here are registered with AGPO. And for you to access those tenders, how many people are having smartphones? I just want to take 2 minutes. How many people are having smartphones? You have smartphones with you. Can you Google EGP Kenya? I want to tell you today, just as education, so that you can know how to access those things. How many have Googled EGP Kenya? EGP Kenya. Badu, you are there. Then click that one, you will see the window of EGP. Once you see that window EGP, click procurement plan. You will see all that the government has budgeted for the last financial year. This is 2025-2026. Click any state department, even if it is the office of the president. You will see all the things that they are planning to procure this financial year. If you want to know the tender, there is a window on your right, tender. Click tenders. You will see all the tenders that have been published. And that is where the AGPO, those youth, women, and those living with disabilities, you can pick what you want to tender there. Once you tender, it is restricted for you. Nobody else will get all whatever you have you intend to procure for the government. So that is how to go about it. And in this regard, I urge the people of this county to register their companies in EGP system in order to access government procurement. And this also goes to the suppliers, the Chamber of Commerce. I have organized a sensitization to the suppliers, and this will start in February. We are doing together with the Chamber of Commerce so that the suppliers can know how to navigate EGP. Take this opportunity, because if the counties don't spend, if the national government don't spend, then we are affecting the revenue that is supposed to be collected. And again, this is the revenue that the CS is going to budget for. So, you will agree with me that this is one sure way through which our women, youth, and persons with disabilities can benefit from the budgeting process, given that a big chunk of government budget goes to procurement. Having said that, I wish you people fruitful deliberation and ask you to feel free. Engage Cabinet Secretary candidly and share your feedback that is necessary to enrich the budget-making process and privatization process. And with those few remarks, it is now my singular duty and pleasure to invite my fellow Principal Secretary to come and make his remarks, and thereafter invite the Cabinet Secretary now to answer all your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The Cabinet Secretary, the National Treasury, my colleague PS Cyril Odede, county leaders present, Mheshimiwa, Asante for being here, the business community, Bunge la Wananchi, students forum, our youth from this great county of Uasin Gishu, government officials present, wananchi wote, I greet you in Jesus' name. Bwana asifiwe. Good, is it morning or afternoon? Good afternoon. Before I start off, CS, allow me just to recognize one of the chair, the chair of one of my parastatals who is here with us, and I'll give reasons why I want him to always attend this engagement. That is Professor Wachana, Chair of Kipra. Tumpigie makofi tafadhali. Young people, are you here? Young people, power. Young people, ria. You know why I'm saying that? It is because Kipra picks young professionals. These are just a few remarks before I read my official remarks. Kipra picks every year young professionals, and they pick 30 young professionals who are fully sponsored by the government to be trained for a whole year, 12 months, on matters of policy, policy formulation, policy analysis, and all that data collection, so that their capacities are built to contribute to such a discussion. And we have also 10 who are self-sponsored. But through the leadership of the CS within our department and together with Kipra, we are now decided that in this budget and going forward, 30 are not enough. We want to target 3 to 5 per county, so that they are trained, they are picked and trained, and they are able to contribute. And the good thing, young people, is that young professionals, as much as you're given is a scholarship, you also earn a stipend per month, 99,000 shillings per month. So tupigie CS makofi. In addition, I had people ask that CS needs to increase these engagements. I want to assure you, from the Department of Economic Planning, we have had you, we've been hearing requests for us to move around, especially to showcase success stories. One of the things through the leadership of the CS that we have done, Mheshimiwa, under NGCDF, is to move around and do the monitoring of the projects in the counties and document success stories that we'll be able to release so that people understand what is CDF doing and what is the impact of CDF. And I must tell you, Mheshimiwa, you guys are doing a great job of oversight. For the 14 constituencies we visited, you deserve a clap and a pat on the back. Thank you for the good work. In addition, the CS has rolled out what we are calling Gumzo la Uchumi Mashinani. It will be similar to this to all 47 counties, and we are starting off probably at the end of March or early April. We will move in all 47 counties, and our ambition is to go to all constituencies, sit na bunge la wananchi, sit with the youth, and have a discussion. Give you what we are doing as a government, where are we in terms of better agenda implementation. And then you tell us, are we in the right direction? What do you want us to do differently? That is true. Number 3, we are here CS because of 2 things: budget making process and privatization. And very quickly, I just want to touch on the 2 and say that, you know, budget making process in Kenya is a continuous process. We have 4 phases. Phase number 1, we are looking at budget formulation, which runs from August to February. And within this phase, is where we will have what we call the budget circular, the budget review and outlook report. And then we come to sector working groups and public participation. We are still there. And this is why we are here, so that even if sector working groups are working, public participation is key to inform the final decision of what the budget statement will look like. Phase 2 is usually approvals, which runs from March to June. And then phase 3 is implementation, which will run from 1st July to June next year. And the last phase is, of course, the audit. But this first phase is key. I want to implore upon all of us that this is the beginning, but as long as we are still in office, we will be able to be moving around whenever we start this phase 1 of budget formulation. Allow me to read the few remarks I have, and then I will invite the CS. All the stakeholders are here. I want to remind us that Kenya's journey under medium-term plan of the Vision 2030 and bottom-up economic transformation agenda is one simple question. And that question is, how do we grow our economy? How do we eradicate poverty? How do we create jobs? And how do we improve services while still living within our means? Today, given the increasing demand for better services, the Kenyan government that you have entrusted us under the leadership of the president to be in is compelled to deliver more under a tight physical space, which is occasioned by limited resources, budget deficits, and increasing public debt. It is worth to note that out of every 100 shillings collected in taxes, approximately 60 goes to servicing debt. On one hand, the government cannot continue raising taxes from Kenyans because evidence shows that higher taxes do not automatically result in increased revenues. On the other hand, we can also not continue with public borrowing. Why? Because it creates a vicious cycle of borrowing to repay. So what is remaining? What is the remaining option for us? This is privatization. And that is why we are here. And we are here from the perspective of economic planning. I want to assure you that privatization is not about selling Kenya. It is about making public assets work harder for the people, reducing pressure on the national budget, improving services, and creating opportunities at grassroots. I want to remind us that Kenya has been in this or worse space than this before. In early 2000, our economy was struggling. Jobs were scarce. Poverty level was high. Services were weak. And the confidence in government was low. The government responded with what was called economic recovery strategy for wealth and employment creation, 2003-2007. And the strategy that was put in place restored discipline, opened space for private enterprises, focused government on its core role. The result was renewed growth, rising employment, and improved service delivery. The lesson from that period is that when reforms are well planned like this, when reforms are well explained to people, they work for the people. That very time, that is when we had the reform in telecommunication industry. Yeah? And we had government liberalizing private investment and putting in strong regulation that gave birth to what we call Safaricom today. And today, The Safaricom that was privatized, some shares were floated then, is what we are seeing today, and we believe that the way and the direction of government will result in positive results. We are here in this county of Uasin Gishu just to engage you in public dialogue. Public dialogue that builds trust, allows concerns to be heard, and helps government adjust reforms. Your feedback on service quality, affordability, and access is not an obstacle to reforms. It is what makes reforms legislative and successful. Allow me not to continue, but take this opportunity to welcome the Cabinet Secretary, Honorable
Badibiro, Badimwamo, Pinyol Warojatelo. Badibiro, Badimwamo, Pinyol Warojatelo. Badibiro, Badimwamo, Pinyol Warojatelo. Badibiro, Badimwamo, Pinyol Warojatelo. Kinene, Tineno Ruto, Nyol Warojatelo. Kinene, Tineno Ruto, Pinyol Warojatelo. Oni Badibiro, Badimwamo, Pinyol Warojatelo. Badibiro, Badimwamo, Pinyol Warojatelo. Kinene, Tineno Ruto, Pinyol Warojatelo. Kinene, Tineno Ruto, Pinyol Warojatelo. Ni Badibiro, Badimwamo, Pinyol Warojatelo. Badibiro, Badimwamo, Pinyol Warojatelo. Kiyude, Tiyudo Ruto, Pinyol Warojatelo. Kiyude, Tiyudo Ruto, Pinyol Warojatelo. Kinene, Tineno Ruto.
Thank you. Aya. Tukae, kaeni. Aya. Thank you. Tukae. Let's have our seats, please. Eldoret oye! Eldoret oye! Eldoret TV! Vijana viva! Comrades power! Thank you. Aya. So, you will allow me first to make my official speech. Alafu nitachukua muda kidogo sana. I speak off the cuff. Alafu nitamalizia hapo. Mmeniruhusu? Asante. So representatives from the University Students Association, esteemed student members, members of the business community, members of the Bunge la Wananchi, member of parliament for Keses constituency, my friend, professional colleague and brother Julius Ruto, my two principal secretaries, the county commissioner, ambaye leo sisi ni wageni wake, the county government led by the county secretary and members of county assembly represented here, other distinguished guests, wafanyikazi wa serikali ya juu na ya county. Kuna mtu nimewanja nje? Jua kali sector, Bunge la Wananchi, the business community. Wacha nimalizie kusema distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First, I want to make it clear that this process that we are undertaking today, this engagement, is not an academic exercise. We have deliberately made a decision as National Treasury to engage the public. When I got into this office, I made a promise to the people of Kenya that I'm going to demystify what National Treasury is all about and make it an institution that interacts with the people we serve, because we work for you. And therefore, the exercise that we are carrying out today, which began from Migori, is going to cover 7 regions of this country if you leave out Nairobi. But we are going to have 8 engagements. For Nyanza region, we had the engagement in Migori. For the Western region, yesterday we were in Kakamega. Today we are here for the North Rift region, because Rift Valley is very expansive. From here, we will have engagement in Nakuru for the South and Central Rift. And then I will proceed to Kiambu for the Central region. Lastly, we will have the last leg, which will begin from Garissa for the Northern Kenya region. We go to Kilifi for the Coast region. And finally, we will end with Meru for the Eastern region. During these engagements, we will be listening to Kenyans, especially the young people, because the youth form 75% of our population. That is a population that you cannot ignore. That is a population that you must engage and listen to continuously to adjust your policies and adjust your programs to fit in the interest of that segment of our population. Allow me to mention the following. That I want to start by extending to you a warm welcome to this stakeholder engagement forum. And I wish to thank you all for finding time to attend this very critical event that provides us with an opportunity to share our views on the management of public resources in the country, and particularly in the budget process, more so as it relates to our development agenda. This process builds up onto not only from the meeting that I held on the 10th of December 2025 in Nairobi, where I launched the National Budget Students Forum with the sole purpose of embedding a youth-centric perspective into our national economic decision-making processes. But it's also from my previous engagements with Bunge la Wananchi on budget process. I'm sure you still remember my engagement at Jivanji Garden last year. And that engagement proceeded or went on to Mombasa, and we even held an engagement in Kibra at night to just discuss our public policy issues as regarding the budget making process. So during this launch, which took place on 10th of December, it was agreed on the need for a wider engagement with the youth of this country in their respective regions on matters pertaining to public finance management. But further to that, further to engaging with the youth, in view of the recent government efforts on privatization, it has also been deemed fit to broaden this engagement to include the business community and the Bunge la Wananchi for a more comprehensive stakeholder information and participation. That is why today, apart from the youth, we are also here with representation or representatives from the business community and also representatives from Bunge la Wananchi and even the county governments and the national government, so that we can understand what is this animal in the room called privatization. And I will come to that when I'm making my off-the-cuff remarks, so that you can understand what the government of Kenya is trying to do. To avoid listening to distortions from the naysayers, I am sure I will be capable enough to address some of your concerns and fears regarding the proposed actions that we want to take, and more particularly regarding the divestiture of most shares in Safaricom and also the privatization proposal for the Kenya Pipeline Company. The successful engagement with the Bunge la Wananchi in the last financial year, as I mentioned, could only be built upon. Feedback from that engagement and feedback from the membership of the Bunge la Wananchi, it was agreed that engagement must continue. The National Treasury's engagement with members of the business community is also not new. Under my watch, it has definitely been enriching in shaping my resolve to have in place more inclusive policies that allow more Kenyans to participate in public resource management. So, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to emphasize that this is not just a policy initiative, but rather it is a legal obligation which is rooted in our Constitution, Article 201A of the Constitution of Kenya, which mandates for public participation in all financial matters so as to enhance transparency, accountability, efficient utilization of resources, and value for money in the management of our public resources. At the National Treasury, we have come to the realization that the government alone cannot effectively respond to the multifaceted challenges facing our country, particularly on unemployment, gaps in skills development, digital literacy, entrepreneurship, and inclusive governance for a demographic dividend. In this regard, I have prioritized stakeholder participation as a key dimension of governance and one of the pillars for a sustainable development. We shall enhance collaboration with our stakeholders, including the youth, private sector, experts, civil society organizations, volunteers, and local communities, which is ever more critical in our public discourse. By forging partnerships and collaboration, the government will harness the ideas, skills, and resources to diverse stakeholders to better deliver services and policies in transformative ways and address the existing gaps in financial, human, and technical resources. I wish again to reiterate that the youth are a significant demographic of our country, making up over 75% of the population with a potential for contributing towards economic development of the country. And in this regard, their voices must be central to how we plan, allocate, and utilize our resources. This has therefore necessitated a shift in public financial management towards inclusive and participatory governance, where citizens, including youth, actively engage and participate in policy formulation and act as co-creators of government policies and services. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya has adopted privatization as a strategic economic policy shift to promote efficiency in the economy by subjecting more services to market forces, to improve competitiveness, revenue generation, aid in fiscal consolidation pathway by reducing government spending on inefficient state corporations and market development in deepening Kenya's capital market. So the objective of our privatization agenda is to ease the burden of governance of these institutions from the government to the private sector, who are better equipped for the market economy. The National Treasury will in this regard continue with sound macroeconomic policies to enhance resilience and create a conducive environment for the private sector to thrive, including the local business communities. This strategic response is anchored in our bottom-up economic transformation agenda and also on the fourth medium-term plan, MTP4. And these frameworks prioritize sectors with high youth employment potential, such as agriculture, micro, small, and medium enterprises, housing, healthcare, and of course, the digital and creative economy. And these sectors are not only engines of growth, but also platforms for innovation, entrepreneurship, and job creation for the youth. So over the recent past, the youth of this country have expressed themselves over important national issues, which include high cost of living, unemployment, and governance transparency. We still remember vividly 2024, more particularly what would have turned out as a dark day in this country. That was the 25th of June 2024. What the youth of this country were protesting about was the issue of high or rising cost of living. Number two, the youth were also complaining about unemployment. They are coming out of colleges with good certificates. Their parents have exchanged ng'ombe with papers, certificates. Papers which should help them better their lives. Papers that should help them get job opportunities. But alas, when they come out, there are no employment opportunities available. The other thing that the youth were complaining about was the issue of governance and transparency. The youth is telling us that they are not happy with the way we are using their resources, that we must change, that we must adopt transparency, that we must adopt accountability, that we must adopt prudent use of public resources. These concerns are valid. These concerns demand for immediate action. We cannot just sit and watch as students complain, as youth complain, and as they express themselves. And that is why the government must be committed to transforming the frustrations that our youth are going through into constructive dialogue and tangible action. We must dialogue with our youth. We must act on their demands. We must put to the best our ability to make sure that we transform these frustrations into productive engagement for the betterment and progress of our country. This forum, therefore, provides one of those perfect opportunities to provide our feedback on the necessary action from the government to address these challenges. So during this process, we will welcome positive critique of our public financial management systems and policies to shape the budget process. Your active engagement in this process will ensure efficient and transparent use of public funds, ensuring that resources are allocated to address youth empowerment and that the allocation achieves the intended objectives. So, ladies and gentlemen, during the launch of this process, I was elated and I was very happy to have received a written memorandum outlining some practical measures through which we can enhance financial support for students in tertiary institutions. And just to make you comfortable, just by engaging in at that initial stages, I wish to report that if you go and you Google, I know you said you don't have bundles, but you can combine your strengths and Google National Treasury website. If you go and check the National Treasury website, and you look at the BPS, Budget Policy Statement for 2026, which we will be tabling in Parliament in February, you will see that the allocation for Higher Education Loans Board is moving from what was provided in 2025, last year, or the year that is yet progressing, the current financial year. We provided 41 billion Kenya shillings for Higher Education Loans Board. That is proposed to increase by about 40%, from 41 billion to 58 billion. And the university scholarship, that part which is not loan, is also proposed to increase from about 16 billion this financial year to 34 billion in the next financial year. That therefore means that the two, if you add 16 billion to 41 billion, that is 57, and is likely to move from 57 to 92 billion, the two figures put together. That is a reaction to the concerns that we have got from the students. Directly, we are responding. And by the way, the budget for education is going to increase with not less than 50 billion shillings in the next financial year. But we are working on the figures and looking at our budget to see if we can even make more resources available for education, because a society that does not care and invest in education of their population is a society that is destined to collapse. That's not a society that would make progress. So we have noted the feedback, which includes strengthening financial support for student financing, as I mentioned, reforming students' loan financing through fiscal policy, targeted student grant funding for vulnerable students, facilitate provision of affordable students' accommodation, and I have taken note of the Eldoret National Polytechnic that requires more accommodation facilities, and establishing an emergency student support fund. This will be consolidated alongside the views from the other regions for consolidation during the preparation of the financial year 2026-27 and the medium-term budget process. Furthermore, we are aware of the financial strains facing our public institutions, which impact the quality of education and future prospects of our youth. Our strategy emphasizes increasing funding, infrastructure development, and curriculum reforms to equip students with skills relevant to the evolving job market, particularly in areas like artificial intelligence, data science, green technologies, and finally, vocational trades. So those are the areas that we are going to target. Artificial intelligence, because we are living in a global community which is moving very fast in terms of technology. We must keep pace. Data science is an area that we must invest in. Green technologies is another area of investment. And of course, the vocational trades. We must learn as a country to accept that vocational training is an integral part of any societal development. If you go to those countries which pride themselves of having developed, you will realize that employment is not a problem because people don't choose jobs. Today in Kenya, I would tell you, those of us who have tried to get services of plumbers, electricians, and the rest, I will tell you, they are difficult to find today because of the affordable housing. I have a plumber who has been working for me for many years. When I wanted to get his engagement, he told me, Waziri, I'm sorry, I'm so busy, I have too much work. He used to be very idle. Today, that gentleman is not as idle as he used to be. I have to now plead with him to squeeze some time for me. That is the country that we should live in, where all trades have something, where all people with different expertise have something to do, have something to offer to the economy. And I will come back to that. Ladies and gentlemen, as you are aware, the government has been in the process of formulating 2026-27 financial year budget and also the medium term. We have, in this regard, prepared a draft 2026 budget policy statement containing the proposed policies and resource limitations for the period. That is the resource envelope. It's already on our website. This document has already been uploaded on the National Treasury website for public review and comments. I am looking forward to receiving valuable comments from you to inform its finalization before we submit it finally to Parliament by mid-February. I wish to urge for your concerted effort to enable us build a Kenya where opportunities are accessible to all, where youth are empowered to lead, and where our collective aspirations become reality. Together, we can forge a prosperous, inclusive, and resilient nation. On privatization, and I'm drawing to a close. Back in very few papers. Then it has sema machache off the cuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, on privatization, I have this to say. Privatization is often part of a broader process of structural reform. Privatization transactions are complex and require careful consideration of a number of issues. Well-designed and implemented privatization policies are essential to ensure credibility of reforms, to help governments achieve their objectives, and to create efficient and competitive markets for goods and services. Privatization of state-owned enterprises ushers in the private sector to participate in commercial activities that government-owned enterprises are taking. This is necessary because the private sector carries out commercial activities more efficiently than public sector, especially in competitive industry. By the way, I hope you are aware that you as individuals and your private businesses are included when I make reference to the private sector. It's not some strange animal somewhere. If you can do some small business, you are also in the space of the private sector. The benefits of privatization include, but is not limited to, the following. 1, lower prices, better quality of goods and services produced, wider choices for consumers, more innovation, minimal red tape in decision making, and of course, less corruption. That is the value and virtues which the private sector bring into business. Less corruption. To safeguard these benefits of privatization, The government has a social obligation to maintain a fair business environment through appropriate regulations and policies. Already, Kenya has developed a fairly robust regulatory environment with the Competition Authority of Kenya overseeing all sectors of the economy, supported by sector-specific regulators such as Communications Authority of Kenya. So privatization as a key tool to address the following three main or major economic issues. That is, balancing of government debts, public expenditure rationalization, and revenue raising, which we also call revenue mobilization. So we talk about revenue mobilization, we talk about expenditure rationalization, and we talk about government debt. In this regard, a robust program must be designed to address fiscal sustainability challenges by limiting government debt, constraining budget deficits, that is reducing budget deficit. And that is one of the questions that one of us asked, that what are we doing to make sure that we correct the messes of the past? One, we are limiting government debt. Two, we are constraining budget deficits. And we are promoting counter-cyclical fiscal policy. Having pursued in the past few years fiscal consolidation, the policy has now reached optimal levels and hence cannot be pushed further. Kenyans are saying they are choking. We are overtaxing them. We cannot continue to tax Kenyans anymore. And what I mean here is not that you are not going to pay taxes. What I'm saying is that we cannot continue increasing taxation. If anything, now we must look for ways of reducing the tax burden on Kenyans. That is what you expect. You don't expect any more taxes to be loaded onto your payslip or your businesses. In fact, yesterday I said, well, in Kakamega, that if you are someone who has gone to school to learn matters taxation, one of the principles of taxation is that you target wealth. You target rich. After targeting wealth is when you can come to income. Income should attract the least tax. And finally, the segment that should not even be taxed is trade. Trade should never be taxed. So we should try as much as possible to reduce taxes on trade. Let people do business, make their money, and expand those businesses. You know, when you have more money, you expand business and you create jobs. That is the only way you can create jobs. By allowing people who are doing business or who are in trade to do business and expand their, make money, use that money to expand their businesses and employ more people. That is the only way to create jobs. And that is probably one of the areas we are not getting it right. That is why you find our unemployment levels continue to rise. We need to look at that area very carefully. And I've tasked my team at the National Treasury to see how we can make trade more friendly in terms of tax policies. You will agree with me that unlike taxation, privatization can never reduce private sector wealth. Taxation reduces people's wealth, but privatization does not. Instead, it encourages propensity to invest and enhances aggregate demand, which in the long run would widen the revenue base. So, privatization does not reduce wealth. Instead, it enhances wealth. Ladies and gentlemen, as I wind up, I want to just mention that our economy, the Kenyan economy, is at a critical turning point. And to sustain the economic achievements that have been realized thus far, both from macro and fiscal perspectives, like lower inflation, lower interest rates, currency stabilization, GDP growth, we must turn to innovative financing mechanisms to fund our infrastructure and public service projects. As the financial needs of the government continue to outpace our available public resources, private sector participation has become a critical tool in addressing infrastructure gaps, enhancing service delivery, and promoting sustainable development. There are many success stories. I know one of us spoke about cases where privatization has failed. And indeed, it is true. There have been previous attempts to privatize some government institutions with disastrous outcomes, like Uchumi Supermarket. But probably one of the reasons why Uchumi failed and others which have failed is because of the timing. Privatization, if you don't time it perfectly, then you definitely fail. But those privatizations that have been timed have succeeded. And let me give you examples. The first one is with regards to Safaricom. Safaricom was started in 1997 as a small department in government, very tiny. It was making profit, yes, but it was not a profit worth talking about. The government, therefore, made a decision at one point to privatize Safaricom. We are not privatizing Safaricom today. Safaricom was privatized several years back when we allowed 40% of the share ownership to be released to Vodacom. So the government then of President Moi retained 60%. 40% was sold out or divested and released to Vodacom through Vodafone Kenya, which is a subsidiary of Vodacom South Africa, which Vodacom South Africa is a subsidiary also of Vodafone UK. So the parent company is called Vodafone UK. Vodafone UK formed a subsidiary in South Africa called Vodacom. That subsidiary came and invested in Kenya and formed a subsidiary called Vodafone Kenya. So it is Vodafone Kenya which owns 40% today of Safaricom. 60% was still held by the government. Come 2008, President Kibaki saw it fit that the government was still too heavy in Safaricom and decided to release more ownership of Safaricom. But at that time, a decision was made to release it to people, to individuals, Kenyans and those international investors, but individuals. These individuals now own 25%. So Kibaki, Moi sold 40%, if we can use that word, selling liberally, and left us with 60 as a government through the National Treasury. I am the shareholder in Safaricom on behalf of the people of Kenya. After that, Kibaki came and released 25% to the people, both Kenyans and foreign investors. Now that took away 65% of ownership of Safaricom from the government. Today, the government has only 35%. But the kind of profit that we are now getting out of this 35, the dividend that Safaricom gives government, is much more than when we held 100% of Safaricom. Why? Because the private sector brought in efficiency and management style that has transformed Safaricom to be the largest and the most profitable company in East and Central Africa. There's not even a single company that makes more profit than Safaricom. So we have this 35, but we are still making much more money. But then, in business, you must always be dynamic and pragmatic. If you sleep and you say, yes, because now I'm making huge profits, that there should be no changes. This Safaricom must continue, must remain. Let me tell you, the telecommunication sector is very dynamic and require and changes every day. There is technological advancement. Safaricom must respond. Safaricom must invest in other regional markets. Already Safaricom has gone to Ethiopia. They have not broken even. They are still not making profit, but they have expanded into Ethiopia. Safaricom must be supported to get into other markets in the region. And that will require heavy investment. Even before we go to talk about government financial needs, let us talk about the Safaricom as a company, Safaricom Kenya, which we call Safaricom PLC. It requires more money. And let me tell you this. People who have knowledge in finance, like us, we know this for a fact. That when a company requires more resources, more capital injection, they will do what we call capital call. They will go to the shareholders and tell them, we need money, we need 50 billion, we cannot continue operating the way it is, we need 50 billion. And the moment they say they need 50 billion, the government of Kenya holding 35% will be required to contribute 35% of that 50 billion, which will translate to about 16, 17, 18 billion. Now, at that time, already a call has been made. A call is made to John Mbadi, who is the CS National Treasury. I am sitting at the National Treasury, and Safaricom needs 18 billion. And at that time, lecturers are in the streets protesting for low salary. They want their salary to be enhanced. Our doctors are in Upper Hill calling Duale to come down because there is no money. Our children need more money to go to school. There is no capitation. We need more money to go to SHA because the 13 billion that I put for primary health care is not enough. You require more, 4 billion more, like now I've been told. We have to release 4 billion more to go to SHA for primary health care. 8 billion that we have put for emergency, chronic, and critical illnesses like cancer, diabetes is not enough. I am weighing these options. Do you think I will put money in Safaricom, or I will put money to pay lecturers, and put money to pay SHA, and put money to pay capitation? Which one, where will I put money? Will I put money for education of our children, or give money for more shares in Safaricom? And what then happens to Safaricom? This is what will happen. Because the government of Kenya as a shareholder has no money to put, the other shareholders will come in to put more money where the government would have put. And your shareholding will be diluted without paying you even a shilling, whether you like it or not. And it has happened with KCB previously. KCB, there was a call-up like that. Government didn't have money. Our share ownership came down automatically because there were other investors ready to put in money to get the company on its feet. That can happen with Safaricom. And we have seen it. And that is why we are saying we must release some of the ownership of shares in Safaricom when we can be paid good sum of money, reasonable, decent. 204 billion is not pocket change. Even if we were to wait for that dividend from Safaricom, how much is it? 15% gives us about 7 billion per year. This 15% that we are releasing would give us 15%, about 7 billion at the current dividend payout rate per year. Divide 204 by 7, how many years is that? About 30 years is when we will get this money that we are getting today. That is before you take into consideration the time value of money. As accountants, we know what we call time value of money. 7 billion today is not the same as 7 billion 10 years from today. But let me come back a bit. I don't know whether I'm speaking to anyone in the room. Let me be a preacher today. Am I speaking to anyone in the room? Yes. Let me come back to a little. These young people who are coming out of colleges, why are they frustrated? It's because hakuna kazi. Let me tell you, our economy is growing at 4.6, 5%, fine. But let me tell you, Kenyan economy with the rising population that we have in this country, the growing population, and the people who are coming out of colleges and universities and other training institutions, And Kenya is leading in this region and almost in Africa in terms of human capital. We cannot create enough jobs with 5% economic growth. We have done our assessment, and for this country to create enough employment opportunities for our people, we must get 7 to 7.5 economic growth every year. But that will not happen with the current infrastructure. It can never. When you leave Nairobi, you are going to Malava through Eldoret. You have to plan for a day. You will take 1 full day on the road. A distance you should cover in 4 or 5 hours if the road was done. Between Nakuru, Naivasha, and Nakuru is a nightmare because we don't have infrastructure. I don't want today to go into politics of which region has better roads than another region. You know it. And we cannot continue lamenting about the past. Whatever you do, you will not correct it. It's like losing a parent. You'll never get any other. Others will just pretend. But a parent you only get once. Yes. If you left Malava with your fish going to Nairobi, you must spend more in preserving it because the road is terrible. When you arrive in Kenya, you are coming from other place and you arrive at JKIA. Those of us who travel, you see the shame of our airport. We must develop that airport. The president has spoken about it. We must do it. And that is why I'm happy working with Ruto, because he's a bold leader. I would rather you make a mistake as opposed to not trying. That you are always cautious. You don't want to take risks. Because some tribal people will shout on top of their voices that you are doing nothing. But let me not go there before my time of going there. I am still on privatization. Listen to me. JKIA requires about 260 billion to do. Can we borrow money to do it? Do you want us to borrow money to do our airport? 260 billion. Airport which will take about 20, 30 years to repay back. And that loan you take, you will pay in 5, 6 years. That is why SGR has not given us the economic benefits that we thought we would get. Because it is a 30-year project and we didn't even land with it where it should have landed. We have left it in someone's shamba. It's not making serious economic impact as it would have. What if it reached Malava? And we accessed Uganda and we accessed Rwanda, Burundi, and Central African Republic, where we should have targeted as a market. Which market is there in Naivasha? Nothing. So is it paying? Who will carry their load all the way from Malava to chase SGR in Naivasha? Irrigation. Irrigation, we have done our calculation, and it is clear, my friends, you are talking about cost of living. We still have food shortage in this country. We are not producing enough. We lack maize, those of us who eat ugali. In fact, if you tell a Luo and a lawyer, and I know there are enough in the room, if you give them food, lunch, without ugali, there is no food. Hiyo ni kama breakfast. Any food you bring without ugali, hiyo ni breakfast. Now, you ugali, the shortage of maize in this country is between 10 and 15 million bags every year. So sample this. Galana Kulalu, we have done experiment. Right now, we are harvesting. We have harvested, actually, from 1,500 acres that we did as an experiment. Each acre is producing between 30 and 35 bags. And in one year, you harvest twice. So that is 60 to 70 bags per year. 60 bags, let's take the lower, 60 bags. And if we do a dam along River Tana for Galana Kulalu, if we do the dam, we will spend between 30 and 40 billion. By the 200, we can irrigate 200,000 acres. Each acre producing 60, multiplied by 200,000. That is 12 million bags of maize every year we will make. You have covered the shortfall of maize production in the whole country. That is why we want money. We need money to do serious investment. Lastly, One, two. I think anasema watu wamechoka. So let me try to move faster and conclude. So now let me finish. Now, energy sector. There is no economy that can grow without reliable energy. Here in Eldoret, you are a welder. You have got tender already. Someone has given you or has told you, I am bringing 100,000. Do my chairs, my bed, whatever it is, I'm coming to pick tomorrow. As you are in the process of doing it, welding, stima imepotea. Unaanza kusema, huyu Wandai ni mtu aina gani? Wandai must go. So utaanza kusema Wandai must go. Lakini what would Wandai do? If our power generation is only 3,000 megawatts, yet our demand is 10,000 megawatts for this economy to grow. So we must get energy, and energy is very profitable. Energy generation, energy transmission is profitable. So we need resources. This money that we are going to get out of Safaricom, we don't want to use it to finance the budget. We are going to use it, put it in infrastructure fund. And then we now do what we call blended capital. We attract other investors, private investors. We tell them, here is JKIA, the cost is 200 billion. As a government, we have 50 billion. We want people who can give us the other 150 billion. This is how profitable it is. Over the next 30 years, you will be getting your income. We will also be getting some as government. So we combine our resources. We are not going to do this investment as government 100%. We'll just be putting a percentage to de-risk the project. So we take JKIA, we put some money there. We take Galana Kulalu, the government puts its money, private sector puts money. We go to a road which should be toll. Instead of doing the whole road from Rironi Mau Summit, as we have done it through PPP, we will put some government resources there. Maybe now to extend it, because this other one is concluded, to extend it to Malava through Eldoret, and the other one through Kisumu. We put some money as a government to lower the cost, so that motorists are also not overcharged. And then we bring the private sector, and we work together. That is what President Ruto's government is planning to do, to take Kenya from where it is to where Singapore is. And Singapore was a journey that was begun a particular day, on a certain day. That journey has been walked, and they have reached there. We can also walk it. We are also human beings, just like them. Let no one discourage us. Finally, on Kenya pipeline, those who are saying that the prices of fuel will be high. Pipeline does not sell fuel. Listen to me. Fuel is being sold by business people. They use pipeline as a transport mechanism, logistics. And by the way, if pipeline is run with the efficiency of private sector, the cost of transporting fuel will even be cheaper. And we still have regulatory authority. The price of fuel is every month being determined by a body called EPRA. There will be no adjustment upwards on the price of petrol or diesel or mafuta just because pipeline, part of it is in the hands of the private sector. That cannot happen. And lastly, this thing you are talking about, security, our data, our what, let me ask you, you think shareholding controls the security of your data? Or the security of the country? When did you hear Safaricom calling me to go and make a decision on how Safaricom should store your data? And I'm a shareholder. There is the regulatory framework of the country which dictates that. It has nothing to do with shareholding. Let me give you one example. Airtel does the same things as Safaricom. Airtel has your data. The same way Safaricom has your data. It's only that Safaricom is bigger. But Airtel is also a telecommunication company. And it has your data. It has my data. I have an Airtel line. And Airtel, there's not even single ownership of government. It is owned externally. The shareholding is external. There is not even a Kenyan owning shares in Airtel. Why is it that our data and our secrecy is not being released or misused by Airtel, and only Safaricom will release our information when we release more shares? And Airtel is owned 100% by the foreigners. It's because our regulatory framework does not allow Airtel to play around with our data, our information, and our security. So whoever is telling you that is cleverly just using excuses to stop and frustrate the government agenda. Mimi nimemalizana na maneno official hiyo ya nini yote hiyo privatization. Budget. I heard you say, what do you have? What do you have? I didn't come here to be asked what I have for you. I came here to listen to you, to hear what you want me to put for you in the budget. Hiyo ndiye ninataka. Ni nini from Eldoret? And by the way, this team which is here, you will give us official and written memorandum. The business community, you are going to give us a written memorandum. The youth, the bunge la wananchi, mseme which projects are lagging behind, which have been started, which you want us to complete in Eldoret. Sasa mimi nimetoka Suba, ninajua nini hapa Keses ama nini? Ama Kapsaret. Mnaniuliza which road am I coming to do? How do I know the roads here? Si nyinyi ndiye mnajua the road. Nyinyi ndiye mnajua wapi hakuna maji. Sasa mimi nitajuaje? Hiyo ndiyo sababu nimekuja hapa nisikize. So muandike hizo muweke hapa. We go and we prioritize. Sawa sawa? You know, I think I understand you because the way budget has always been done is that mtu anakaa hapo treasury floor, 14th floor. Anaandika vitu zake, alafu siku ya kusoma budget ni kama ni secret ingine. Hiyo sanduku sijui imebeba nini. Ninakuja nasoma vile iko. In fact, I told my people one day, some of them in the budget office, I look at them, mtu anatoka kwake Karen, anaenda 14th floor, ama 10th floor, treasury, jioni anarudi. When he wants to go for holiday, anaenda boma yake iko Kiambu ina border Nairobi, hajui chochote. Niliwaambia, I will be taking you for a week. Ukae Samburu. Uone vile watu wanaishi before you come and compile the budget. So that when someone tells you that there is River Tana in Tana River, River Tana, where children are crossing to go to school the other side. Na wanaweka, imagine River Tana, mtu anaweka hizo the poles. Pole inawekwa hivi, another one inawekwa, mtoto ana balance hivi, anaanguka kwa maji. Anakuliwa na crocodile. This is real story. Hii si story ya to make you laugh. It's what I saw with my eyes. Real story. From independence to last year, ndiye sasa tumeanza kujenga daraja mbili. Now, the cost of one is only 100 million. If you are just sitting in Nairobi and someone is bringing you that story, unafikiri ni mchezo. But if you go to the ground and you see, then you realize that this country, we are unfair sometimes to some of us. That money, just our taxes we pay, the whole country just goes to some specific areas because they produce presidents and deputy president and ministers for finance. That watu wengine ni kama waishi kwao, hiyo ni mbaya. Hata God will not forgive us. So wacha nimalizie, lakini wacha niwaulize. Si mnaangalia TV? Si mnasikia radio? Si mnaangalia WhatsApp na social media? Si mnaambiwa ati Ruto hajafanya kitu? Some of you are also clapping. Wacha niwaambie kitu kimoja. And listen to me. When Ruto became president of this country, you people don't know where Kenya has come from. IMF had told us that Kenya was among the 6 countries in Africa which were going to default in paying their debts. 6 countries in Africa were not going to be able to pay their debt in 2024, 2025. One of them was Kenya. All the 5 have defaulted. It's only Kenya which did not default. Ethiopia defaulted. Ghana defaulted. Si mnajua hiyo? Gambia defaulted. Mozambique defaulted. Chad defaulted. Kenya did not default. Na mjui kudefault ni nini? Let me tell you, if a country defaults, si kama wewe umedefault kulipa deni ya jirani yako. Iko tofauti. It is not even like defaulting in paying mshwari. Ama ile ingine inaitwa nini? Si kama ya Hustler Fund. Hiyo mnaweza cheka na wale wamekupea hiyo pesa. If you default in paying your loan, IMF and World Bank will be the first one to arrive in the country. Because they also have given us loans. And when they arrive, they are taking you to a route we call Paris. My friend, this is what will happen. First, they will tell you, si mmejiingiza kwa matope. Tutawatoa kwa matope. On condition. Number 1, salary ya all civil servants, starting with the president, half. Staff in your public service, una reduce by half. Chiefs, mukona ngapi? 10,000, 5,000. MCA ni wangapi? 1,450 wards, half. Wabunge ni wangapi? 290 constituencies, half. Walimu ni wangapi? Sijui 400 and what thousand, half. Capitation mnaweka ngapi? Ni hivi, half. I am not giving you idle talk. That is how countries which have defaulted have been treated. Is that what you wanted for Kenya? When Ruto became president, inflation in this country was at 9.6%, going to double digit. When Ruto became president, my friend, we had forex reserves of only 3 months of import cover. Today it is 5.3 months, even beyond the target of 4 months. Today inflation is below 5%. Today interest rates, you say that interest rates are still high. It is true they are high. And we are working to make sure they are lowered further. But 1 year ago, average interest rates, if you went to the bank, was 17.2. Today, it is 14.9. And we want it to go down to 12%, if not to single digit. Banks have been giving us loans like Shylocks. There was no difference. Because if banks can give you loan at 26, 28%, and Shylocks are also giving you at 30%, what's the difference? But we have managed some liability. And just allow me to say this, I know time imeenda. But I want to tell you, the people who are saying that the government is not doing anything. I went into that office, I lost weight in 2 months. Na hii si kitu ya kucheka, karibu nikufe. So you need not to laugh when I was about to die. Please, sympathize with me. The reason why I lost weight is because unaingia kwa ofisi, inafika 15th of the following month na hata hujamaliza kulipa mshahara ya wafanyikazi wa serikali. Deni inakuja, you don't know where to pay it from. That is what happened in 2024 when the shilling exchanged to the dollar at 160. Do you know what happened? We had a loan we were to pay in June 2024. And by February, Kenya did not know where they were going to get money to pay 260 billion euro bond. Somebody sat somewhere and said, my tenure is coming to an end. I don't care about that loan, which will come in 2024. If anything, I'm leaving office on the 9th or 10th of September, or I don't know which date exactly, of 2022. He didn't care. So when we sat with the president, we agreed we are not going to be that careless again. That is why last year, we decided to repay Eurobond of 2027. It's due in May 2027, lakini tulilipa last year. Again in September, we decided that the loan which is coming in 2028, we are also paying it. And we paid it last year, the loan of 2028. So for now, I will tell you, we can sit pretty that the only pressure we have is the loan of 2031. Not between now and 2031, we don't have that pressure anymore. That is the forward thinking of leadership. And no one will tell you that because they don't want you to hear. If Ruto wanted to be careless, he would say, 2028 is after my second term election. I will deal with it later. But we said no. Even if we make it second term or not, let whichever government is going to be there in 2028 not go through the same thing that this government went through when they came in 2022. And that is why I know when we start a conversation with Kenyans, those people who are talking about one term, you will realize how foolish you are when we start engaging with Kenyans and they get to understand what we have been able to do and they all say 2 term, utawachwa kwa mata. So, let me say it, and I want to repeat, and I'm not telling you things that I've cooked. I am talking about reality. Even these things they talk about SHA, it is brave, it is courageous. Kenyans, we must find a way of treating our sick, especially people who cannot afford. SHA may struggle. Everything started. Hata wewe ukinunua gari mpya, uta make mistakes, it will jack, it will fanya hivi, but mwishowe utajua kuendesha hiyo gari mpaka saa unaweka tu miguu hivi na gari inaenda peke yake. SHA has just begun. It is picking up. So what is this kelele? They made kelele about housing. Is it now not changing the landscape of this country? Look at what is happening across the country. Every town you go to, you see big buildings. You are wondering, what is this? Am I in Dubai? Where is this? Kenya is construction site because of housing. So what we need to do is just to think about middle income earners and we help them come up kidogo. Mishahara yao iende juu kidogo. Hiyo tu. And then we get our second term. Na tutapata. Who told you I want to be Minister for Finance for only 2 years? Who said that? Kuna mtu alisema hiyo? And then, where is the alternative? Mimi nauliza, alternative iko wapi? The people who are talking about replacing President Ruto are people when they wake up, they think one region. Wanakula lunch, one region. Wanakula supper, one region. Hata usiku, hata wakilala kwa kitanda, hata nashangaa mabibi zao wanasema nini? Kama fikira yote iko kwa one region, saa ngapi wanafikiria hata mabibi zao? Mlima. And we love watu wa mlima. And they have made a contribution. There is no community which is more enterprising than the people from the mountain. And by the way, they have led this country with distinction, especially Mwai Kibaki. And we love them. We cherish them. We live in one country. But one individual should not make us have a negative opinion about a whole region. It's one rogue person who can wake up a leader who has even been deputy president of this country and start telling us that if you are coming from another region, you cannot go to a national school. And the school is called national in their region. And yet, let me ask you, you think people of Mount Kenya or Central are the ones who have built Alliance or Mango? Is it the Luos and the lawyers who have built Maseno? We have all contributed. The taxes from Western Gishu have built Maseno, Maranda. Those are national schools. Alliance, Mangu, Lenana, national schools. Sasa mtu anaongea kama mtoto. Hata unashangaa huyu akili yake. In fact, I am sympathizing with people who are following that gentleman. I am sympathizing with you. If you are doing it on tribal, woe unto you. Shame on you. How do you support someone who wants to divide this country? And we know the consequences. Remember 2007, what we went through. In my neighborhood, next to my home, a woman came with a head, kichwa, peke yake, ya bwana yake. Ajui mwili ingine iko wapi. Because of 2007, we don't want to go back there. Leaders who are still having such mindset, I want to tell you, your time is up. This Kenya does not belong to you. In fact, you don't belong to this country. You should find your own country to live in. This country is for people with progressive minds. People who are thinking about tomorrow, not tribal bygones. Let me wind up. I know in this congregation, tuko na watu wa chama changu. My party. My party. My party. My party remains ODM. And by the way, I love what were UDA. Lakini, my party is not UDA. My party is ODM. And just listen to me. We are working together with UDA, but we are in ODM. And my party leader is Dr. Oburu. And I want to tell those who are in ODM, what has made ODM what it is today is the respect that we have given the party leadership of ODM. There is no single individual in this world who has no weaknesses. Even our departed hero had his weaknesses. Those of us who lived or worked closely with him know. But anybody has a weakness. Our role as a party is to fortify and strengthen our new party leader, who is our symbol of unity. But again, let me tell you what we're ODM. Our only route to leading this country as a party is through working with William Samoei Ruto. We have no any other choice. And by the way, if you are out here and you are speaking another language, you go to Nyanza. The people of Nyanza have already decided. They are giving Ruto a second term. And once tukimalizia hiyo yake, tukimalizana na Ruto, in 2032, hata sisi tuko tayari kuongoza hii nchi. Kwa hivyo, mimi ninataka kuwasihi watu wa UDA, wakati ikifika, 5 years is not a long time. 6 years is not a long time. Tutawapea, we will give you second term. We will give Ruto second term, not just because he's Ruto, but because of what we have seen he has done and how he has tried to unite this country. Which president anywhere in the world can take Ministry of Finance and give someone who did not campaign with him. It's only the courage of one person. He's the only one who has a rare courage. And for that reason, some of us are ready. Remember, some of us have been salivating to also be able to manage the resources of this country. And 17 ministers have been in office. Ngoja. 17 ministers have been in office. The 18th one, ndiye sasa amekuwa mbadi. In this country, we have had so many attorney generals. And the region where I come from produces some of the best brains in the legal field. But since independence, the first attorney general who has come from the region where I come from is Dorcas Oduor, appointed by William Ruto. And let me tell you, we have agreed as ODM. ODM is in Nyanza. ODM is in Western. ODM is in the coast. ODM is in Northeastern. ODM is in Turkana. ODM is in Masai. We are remaining as one united whole because we know our strength is in unity. The Luyas and the Luos and the coastal people, we must remain together. And the party ODM does not belong to the Luo community. Luos who are here, remember, Luyas are supporting ODM. Remember, Turkanas are in ODM. Remember, Masais are in ODM. Remember, even Kalenjins were originally in ODM before they went to UDA. So we are a national party led by national leaders. Oburu will remain our leader. The time will come when we are going for presidency as a party. We are going to come out very strongly and you will pick the best based on performance, track record, and all that is required of a leader, and we will go for it. Otherwise, I want to end there. Ninataka so, Ngoja, thank you. So my brother Shundu, you requested me to support you with a school fees of 39,500. Hiyo tumelipa tayari. Hiyo is cleared. And now my sister, hata wewe ninataka unione kando, tuone vile tunasaidia maneno yako. Na wengine. Otherwise, nyinyi muko hapo, kuna vile tunawapanga, kila mtu atapangwa. Sawa sawa. Eldoret oye! Eldoret oye! Vijana tibim! Vijana tibim! Asanteni sana.